Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Erica and this is my knitting podcast. So today I have one finished object to show you and then a couple other things I've been working on. January was crazy. I didn't knit a whole lot, so we'll just have a pretty short episode today, but I am still very excited to talk about all the knitting things with you. So to get into the one thing that I finished knitting, I finished it at the very beginning of January, and it is this cardigan. So this is the Wabi Sabi cardigan by Milena Paulina on Instagram, and I test knit this for her. Our test knit was due at the end of January, so I'm thinking the pattern will be coming out pretty soon. When it does come out, I'll put the link down below to it, so if you want to go back and look at it once the pattern's out. So this pattern is super cute. It's a simple cardigan. This is actually the first cardigan I've ever knit, and it has really pretty details. So as you can see, it's oversized with the drop shoulder, and then it has these really pretty lateral braids that go across the body and then onto the arms. So you can see it here. Like here's one, and it's super cozy. It's knit up in BC Garn Hamilton Tweed 2, and I chose the color number 3. So as you can see, it has really beautiful flecks, tweed flecks in it, and it's like a nice beigey gray, gray beige color. So that's the color I ended up choosing, and the test knit was super fun. I went with some shell buttons for mine that my wife so lovingly sewed on for me because I really didn't feel like it. So I asked her if she would sew my buttons onto my cardigan, and she said yes, luckily. But otherwise, this was super fun to work on. I was so nervous to do the button band since I had never knit a cardigan before. But it was like so easy because Milena's directions are super easy, and she provides links to YouTube videos that can teach you how to do techniques if you're not sure how to do them. So I was intimidated about the button band for no reason. I could have just gone ahead and done it without being so nervous about it. The only thing that I am going to go back and change on this is the sleeve. So you can see the sleeve, my hand, the sleeve is a good like 4 inches past the end of my fingertips. So this is something to keep in mind with test knits. As we finished it, she noticed for some of the sizes that the sleeves were really long, for my size included. So she's altered the pattern to not knit the sleeves so long for when it comes out. So that is something to keep in mind if you're test knitting. The pattern may change by the time it comes out, so then you might want to go back and modify some of the design with the changes. So basically what I'm planning to do is pick out the bind off and then unravel probably to like here, and then re-knit the cuff. So that way it's a better length for my arm. Because as of right now, I could wear it if I folded the cuff up, but I really like the look of the lateral braid right before the ribbing of the cuff, and I don't want to lose that if I'm going to wear it folded up. So I need to go back and do that, but I have no motivation to do that. Like, the project is done, so I really don't feel like undoing it and putting it back on the needles, but at the same time, I want to wear it more, so I need to take the time to do that. So that will be a good project for me to do soon. So that way I can wear this more often. Right now, I've only really worn it at home because the sleeves are long and I don't want them to get messed up, like, if I'm out and about. So I really do need to go ahead and change that. But yeah, very happy with how this turned out. I had so much fun knitting it. It knit up super fast because this is a super bulky yarn. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. I have some left over. I have like 100 grams of this left over, which is perfect because Milena has the city hiker beanie. I think I've talked about it before, but it's knit with this yarn. So how cute will that be when I can have a matching beanie to my sweater? So I want to work on that soon. I have so many things I want to knit and then not enough time. I'm sure you can relate, but I really do want to make a beanie with this and then be super cute wearing my matching set, my hand knit matching set. So let's get into what I'm currently working on, and then I want to talk to you about some knitting plans. Okay, the first thing I'm working on is a pair of socks. These are going to be the Sunday socks by Petite Knit, and I'm knitting them up with the Sendness Garn Perfect, and it's in the color 8581. It doesn't have the name on here, but it's a really beautiful deep forest green. So I'm working on these right now, and these are taking me a while. These are like my socks I bring in the car if I'm not driving and I work on them, or sometimes watching TV. Not in a rush to finish them, but I love this color. And I have knit 2 other pairs of the Sunday socks, matching ones for me and my wife in a really pretty heather gray, and I find I wear them a lot during the week while I'm working, and I wanted to make another pair for that purpose so I don't have to wear the same ones over and over and they'll last longer. But yeah, I'm working on those. I am also working on another pair of socks. I'll get into why socks in a minute. It has to do with another project I'm working on, but I wanted to work on something that I'm familiar with. So socks is a very familiar, happy place for me to knit at. So that is the Sunday socks, where those come into play. And then I decided that I want to knit some more colorwork socks. Now, back in December, I was in a rush to finish those gingerbread socks, which were colorwork. And then before that, it was Halloween, and I knit 2 pairs of Halloween socks that were colorwork. And when I finished all of those, I told myself I was done with colorwork socks and I was very tired of making them. But then I got the itch to work on colorwork socks again. And I think it's because I don't have a timeline on finishing them, and it's just 2 colors, not 3. So here I am working on colorwork socks again. These are the Ember socks by Summerlee Knits. So it's a really pretty houndstooth pattern and then a contrasting toe. So these are interesting because they're knit with what is called a peasant heel or forethought heel. I haven't done the heels yet, so this is the first sock tube, and I'm currently knitting the second sock tube, and you can see here it's harder to see with this one. The contrasting yarn is yellow in this one, and then in here I use some scrap green yarn. But basically, the heel is going to go in here somehow. So I haven't learned how to do a peasant heel yet. So I thought I would just knit both of the sock tubes first and finish the toe, finish everything, and then go back and do each heel after. So that way I can just learn it once and then do one heel, then the other heel, and it should be easier, I hope. Every other sock I've made, I usually do the heel flap and gusset. This is the first time I've seen the forethought heel. I've heard of the afterthought heel where you cut into the knitting, and that always has scared me so much to even try it. I can't imagine after all that time you cut in and then you have to unravel the entire thing. So I haven't wanted to try that, but this, you knit in a piece of this scrap yarn. You can see both the tails on each side, and somehow we're going to pick up the stitches and then pull that scrap yarn out and be able to knit the heel. So I'll keep you updated on how that goes. And I'm going to do the heel in the same contrasting color, this green, and I think it's really cute. The yarn that I am using for these is first the pink I had in my stash. It's Filcolana Arwetta. Please be kind about my pronunciation. in this little pink color. And then the orange is left over from the gingerbread socks. So this is that cinnamon color by West Yorkshire Spinners, and the color is called Cinnamon, I believe. And it's that really pretty orangey brown color that I used for the gingerbread. And the green, I don't have the ball band anymore, but I got this in France at the yarn shop Lil Weasel, and it's their in-house hand-dyed sock yarn. So that green is really pretty. I'm only using a little bit for the heels and the toes, so that way I can hopefully use it for another pair of socks. Like I might do fully green socks with like a texture, or mix this with something else. But this is like precious yarn since I got it in France, and I'm not going back there anytime soon, so I don't want to waste it. I'm having a lot of fun knitting these up. They're going super fast. The chart is easy to memorize because it's just that simple houndstooth pattern, and very happy with how these are turning out. Now let's get into the project that has made me want to start all those sock projects and work on things that I know that I can complete / that I know that I'm good at. And it is the Guernsey Genser by Sendness Garn. I have been talking about making this sweater for at least 6 months, probably longer. And I have finally started it, and it's not going great. Let me show you what it looks like. I have the pattern book here. So it is a beautiful cabled sweater, and it's really hard. I'm having a hard time working on it. I was thinking about not putting this in here at all because I'm having such a hard time, but then I thought that's exactly why I should share it. So basically, I have started and stopped working on this over the month, and now I feel like I'm just gonna leave it on hold on the needles for the foreseeable future, and I'll tell you why after. So here is how much I have gotten done. Not a whole lot. So it's a drop shoulder construction with the cabling, and you basically start, well, I don't want to say too much since it's a paid pattern, but I'm just at the top for the cabling, and I'm already struggling so much. So you start with moss stitch, and I did I think it's like 4 inches of moss stitch at the beginning. And then when I got to the next portion of the chart, I realized I didn't have the correct amount of stitches. So I ripped out all of the moss stitch and started all over. I think I just miscounted when I cast on, even though I recounted. It happens, you know? All of a sudden you can't count. I counted it for like 5 times and I got the right number every time, but then it was wrong. So that happened, and then I got to the cable section, and it's not going great. I have redone this small section that's only like, I don't know how many rows. I am on row 18. I have redone 18 rows of this like 5 times, and I keep having the same issue. Somehow I am messing up the cables to where I'm not ending up with the right number of stitches at the end, like in the correct spot of the cabling. I don't know how to explain it. Basically, I'm just messing it up over and over, and then I'll rip it out and redo it. And I tried to be really patient with myself and redo it, but it has happened 5 times. And the directions in the Sendness Garn pattern booklet are pretty minimal, and I can't figure out what part of their minimal directions I'm reading incorrectly. So basically, I think what I'm gonna do is unravel this whole thing and set it aside for a while and work on a different cable sweater that will have more instructions. So then hopefully after that, I can come back to this and work on it successfully. because right now it's really not fun to work on. It's just kind of making me mad. So I know that it's time to take a break. But with all that said, what I'm going to work on instead is another cable pattern that I've mentioned to you all. And it is the Billy cardigan. So I decided to get it printed out instead of trying to look at it on my phone. Normally I just read patterns off my phone, but this time I decided to go print it. And I'm hoping, based on previous experience with Sari Nordland patterns, that this one will have more instruction than the Setness Garn one. And so if I can make this cabled cardigan and read her instructions and understand it more, I think I'll be able to apply that to the Setness Garn sweater, and it should be easier because it'll be a sweater versus a cardigan. That's what I'm telling myself. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know when I'm going to start it. I've kind of been in a knitting slump all of January, to be honest. At the beginning of January, I had some family visit, which was really fun, and then they went home, and then a few days later, my wife and I both got COVID, and we were pretty sick for a while, so I had no interest in knitting. And then the weather took a turn, and we got snowed in for quite a few days, so my knitting mojo was really down, but I finally am starting to knit again. And on top of all the like sickness and not leaving the house because of the snow, I was having so much trouble with the Guernsey Genzer. So just kind of wanted to do easy stuff, which is why I picked those socks. So now that all that, I'm gonna leave it behind, leave the Guernsey Genzer to the side, try this Billy cardigan, which is so pretty. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous cabled cardigan, and we'll see how it goes. That being said, I did get yarn for this Billy cardigan, and I am so grateful because my in-laws gave me a gift card for Christmas to get yarn, and so I used that to get yarn for the Billy cardigan. And I got the yarn recommended in the pattern, which is Cascade 220, and I'm going to just knit it up in, does it say the color? I think the color was just called white. It doesn't say on here, but oh no, the color's called natural. That's what it was. So I think it's just the natural white of the sheep. So that is the color I'm going to knit it up in, and I'll need buttons for this too, since it's a cardigan. And for this cardigan, I used these shell buttons, and I ordered a few sizes of them, and I figured I'll use them eventually. If not for the wabi sabi cardigan, I would use it for something else. So I'm thinking I might use the shell buttons that I have left over for this, which would be really, really cute. I also like wooden buttons on these type of cardigans, so we'll see. But really happy about the color. It's not too white, it's just beautiful cream, and I'm excited to make that. That is everything that I'm working on and planning to work on. So as far as yarn acquisitions go, showed you this, which is so soft and squishy. I got one other yarn acquisition, which was also from a gift card. My sister-in-law gave me a Wool in the Gang gift card for Christmas. So more white yarn. I have a theme going. I'm doing the white Guernsey Genzer with Setness Garn, and then we have this, and now this. I have a theme. But this is the Sugar Baby Alpaca yarn in the color Snow White. So it's so soft because it's alpaca. And I'm going to use this to make a hot water bottle cover. I'm going to use the pattern called Hot Water Bottle Cover. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm going to use this yarn, and I like how soft it is. Since the hot water bottle might touch my skin at times, I want it to be super soft, and I'm really excited to make that. That's all I have for you today. Super short episode. I'm really happy you're here. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you're working on in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.